Hey Brickmaniacs, welcome back to another Designer Studio episode. Today we're taking a closer look at a Soviet armor collection, which covers quite a few eras.
Yeah, so...
where do you want to start?
So this is
Nate, by the way.
Oh, hi, I exist for now. So this is basically my Soviet armor lineup for the year, so might as well just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of just have all the Soviets because Russia. So let's start, so with this lineup, it kind of, originally Mary was actually told to start the Soviet lineup, but I was the one doing more research, and then very last minute, Drew was like, hey Nathan, you're doing the T-34 now. I'm like, okay. And then I got COVID, so I had to work on that at home.
Oh, okay.
That was COVID. And the turret is actually, and this turret is actually Katya's because this turret is very hard to replicate in Lego. Specifically the M1943, because it's like weird angles, I got the circle. Let me bring this into the center a little bit. So yeah, this is, this is the Fighting Girlfriend. This is Maria last name's tank.
Oktoberskaya, something like that.
Yes, her. Here she is. Lando will probably go over her. I think he already went over her in the video. So my main goal for this one was setting up the chassis and how that would work.
Because you're kind of setting the basis for the rest of the lineup.
Yeah, I was setting the basis
here
for the rest of this. And yeah, it's very simple. This hatch can open and close when it wants to. These two hatches in the back. And if you remove all this, there is
engine action.
Engine and the spare hat, because the minifig actually has two faces. There's the engine you can see in here, designed by Katya, as well as the turret, because this was a tag team one, because, well, I needed help with the turret.
That's what the community's there for.
Oh yeah, no, Katya's a great friend. Great friend. And yeah, overall simple design. These Katya's contributions for this kit were the engine that I just showed, these boxes, and the turret, of course. She really helped me with the turret because that was, whew, man, this was a last-minute choice.
Tough translation.
Rough translation and low on time. But again, my goal for this one was the chassis because I wanted to be as low and angular as possible. Now, there's not much of an interior, but to be fair, it's a T-34. There is no interior. But yeah, for my first Russian tank, that was a bit of a tag team. I'm very happy with how this came out. These names on the side are, well, on the side of the chassis are stickers, but there's vent printing,
And the stickers are intentional because that's how it would have looked in like a parade, right?
Yeah, like a lot, like the ones on the side, like the stickers on the side and the red stars, those are typically parades. The printing on the turret, like the 396 and the Fighting Girlfriend text on the turret, that actually would have saw combat. And after Maria fell in 1944, there were other T-34s that donned this in honor of her.
Yeah, sure.
So there would have been a few of these kind of going around, just not with a 396.
An homage to one badass lady who would quite literally get out of her tank in the middle of combat in order to fix it, to keep it running.
No, like her story is her husband fell. She and her town kind of gathered as much money as they could. She went to Stalin like, hey, let me buy a tank so I can fight Nazis. And he's like,
sounds like a win-win to me.
Okay. I mean, he's going to put every man, woman, and child between him and the oncoming Germans, so yeah, might as well. But yeah, overall, this was the
kickoff.
This was the kickoff.
Cool.
And this was, and moving this to a bit more, and more of a Cold War, Six-Day War style, is the Su-100. Now, the Soviets had these in gray in 1944 because that's what they were produced. It's basically a giant gun put in a T-34 chassis. And after the war, the Soviets sold a bunch of their excess stuff to a lot of their allied communist states. Well, maybe not Egypt because that was more of an ally than a state, but I'm not good with the Cold War, so.
It's all good.
But yeah, so this was a very interesting thing to pull off, and I'm kind of surprised I pulled it off as well as I did.
And you got the wobble in the barrel, right?
Oh yeah,
that's really cool.
Nope,
because that's definitely an iconic feature of the vehicle itself.
Yes.
And a tough transition into Lego.
Yes. So I'll put the a little too tight. Now it wobbles.
That's really cool.
Yep, it wobbles. This thing has, 9 hatches? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7, not 9. I can't count. But yeah, there's a lot of room for this, and I'm really just proud of the angling I was able to pull off with this one, because look at this angle. This is very nice. It's very smooth in the back. It's pretty smooth in the front. The sides look great. This this canopy right here. This right here was a headache to pull off. Because this cupola kind of goes inward into the fuselage, the chassis, which is really hard to do. It doesn't, you can definitely put a minifig in here, but it's not going to like line up perfectly.
Because there's some bricks that you need to get that structurally sound. Understood.
Yes. Yeah, so it works as well as it could because this thing is just very hard to pull off. Now, like a regular SU-85, not the 85M, just a regular SU-85 that didn't have this, that'd be probably a lot easier to pull off in Lego, but I chose to go for a challenge, and I was told to make an SU-100, so
here we are.
And here we
are.
are.
I really like the printing on it, too, that like dark green.
Yeah,
the accents really add to that tan.
Yeah, the dark green circle is a really nice contrast on the tan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dark green and tan is always just a good color combo.
Agreed.
We have this weird license plate here. We have the T-34 wheels in tan. We got some fuel crates, oil drums, yes. Some vents that are kind of hard to see because they're...
Bye, figure.
Camera guy, please.
Good catch.
All right, I'm surprised this worked out. Ah, yes, the minifig. Man, we had a hard time trying to figure out what this guy's uniform was. Like, seriously, we could not find anything, so it's just the Soviet uniform in tan. And, yep, we also have this hatch printed because I was not going to make an opening hatch. We got the oil drums printed, printed wheels. I already go over that. But, yeah, that's overall the SU-100. Oh, hang on, we're not done yet.
Oh, yeah.
Bonk. This is the M38 because I couldn't find another time to show this guy off. This is the M38. I realize an M38A1 would have been a bit more accurate to the Six-Day War, but oh well. But yeah, so basically the M38 is an updated 4x4 that was introduced during Korea, but after the Korean War, the US just kind of sold them off everywhere. And the Israelis got a hold, so it has this distinctive stripe right here with all the other Israel stuff. It's so the planes and all the Israeli aircraft could identify them. Yep. Yeah. We have the printed headlights. We have the printed number right here as an identifier. This comes with two minifigs.
One to operate the rifle, one to drive the vehicle.
Yes, they're both sitting, so no one's operating the gun, so therefore this has an advantage.
It probably might have an advantage to begin with, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, well, this has the speed. But yeah. The recoilless rifle is the same design Dan did. I just kind of plop it on the back of here. And that is it with the Six-Day War stuff.
It's a nice little collection.
Oh, yeah. Now, back to the Soviet era. This is technically Korean War, but it's this one applies to both.
You could use it wherever, right?
Oh, yeah. Out of all the Soviet tanks I did this year, this one was my favorite.
Okay.
The T-34-85. Korean War specifically, but again, it can kind of be used everywhere. So the only things that really signify this as sort of a Korean War era T-34 is this number right here, and the face is supposed to be reminiscent of like a North Korean tanker, but you could really use this for World War II or Korea.
Especially if you've got a Soviet tanker.
Yeah, exactly. Or hell, just swap the face off. Yeah, like you just buy like a Red Star sticker pack, put like whatever you want here, then bam, it's just a regular Soviet T-34. The mismatched wheels are supposed to represent like more of a hand-me-down status when they were when the North Koreans got them from the Russians. But to be fair, even during World War II, a lot of them were in hand-me-down status anyway.
Using what they have.
Yeah, so like you see a lot of like preserved T-34s with mismatched wheels.
That's cool that's intentional. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely intentional. Brought the price down a little bit too. Wanted to bring it down a little more, but everyone wanted the fuel drums, so I obliged. But yeah, the thing I'm proud of most with this one is the turret. This just captures the look of the T-34-85 because the turret's supposed to be kind of long,
sitting super far forward.
Super far forward, big, chunky.
Bulbous, almost.
Bulbous,
yeah,
yes.
Right.
I actually compared it to the old T-34-85 turret we had. The old one was actually shorter.
Oh, wow.
Like the turret was actually like a brick or two shorter, and the chassis, and the reason why I wanted to standardize all this is because between the old Fighting Girlfriend and the old T-34-85, they were completely different chassis when they were supposed to be the same chassis, and when I found that out, that really threw me off, so I wanted to
let me at him.
Fix it.
Let me at him.
Basically. So yeah, out of all the Russian kits I did this year, this was easily my favorite because I think this is one of the few tanks I just captured the look of, and I'm genuinely proud of this.
Good.
Same features as the other ones. You got the engine. Get the engine. You got the. None of the turrets move. I'm sorry, I couldn't put a ball joint in there simply because of the sloping. Oh yeah, the front sloping. I'm very proud of how that looks. Mm-hmm. It really blends together and really nicely.
That integration is very tough to capture. You see a lot of mocks online that just kind of like, I didn't know what to do here, so I just did whatever.
To be fair, I didn't know what to do either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it takes time.
I mean, funnily enough, with the turret, it's kind of like bending outwards a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, it still works. So that might be an illegal build, but they're Russians. They don't care. So yeah, this was my favorite my favorite Russian kit of the year so far, and I'm definitely proud to have done that as best I could. And the last one I got for the lineup,
the most recent, right?
The most recent, the M1941. This was basically one of the earlier variants of the T-34, and despite what a lot of people may say, or a lot of lazy historians might say, the early T-34s were used en masse on day one on Barbarossa. They had like 2,000 ready, and they were doing all right against the Germans. So it's like, oh well, once the Germans saw this mysterious tank, they put everything they could, and it just kept deflecting. But you know, that's just kind of hearsay. Like, there's a bit of truth to that, but once the Germans figured out how to take them out, then it became a lot easier.
Yeah, right. Learning your opponent, like in any form of warfare.
Yeah. Funnily enough, so before I got handed the lineup, I saw a video, like an hour-long custom-made documentary by a pig full of lasers. I can't say the actual username, but he has a video that kind of opened my eyes to like a lot of the faults of the T-34. So it's kind of funny I saw that and then immediately handed this. So I had that in my mind as I was designing all of these.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I could never hate this, the T-34, but I'm definitely aware of its faults. Like, this is still one of my favorite World War II tanks. Back to what I was saying. Yeah, so I was going for more of the Holy wheels this time, so to cut down on printing.
Early production model.
Yep, there's going to be a couple printed vents. There's not a lot of names or stars or all that, because a lot of the T-34s you would see would just be blank. Like blank green or blank gray.
Which has actually been something that the Russian collectors have mentioned, of like, hey, we want to make sure we have the option to put those stars on there if we want to do a parade. Otherwise, if we wanted to make it look like it's in combat, what we should really do is add some bullet holes.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, hey, we have sticker packs for those. It does come with another Soviet tanker minifig. The back hatch, not printed, is actually square, because all the other ones we had so far were round. I don't have printing for this one, but this one was... this one was round, and this one will be square. This turret was designed by Katya. I got to fix the website because this is another tag team, so I just want to make sure she gets the credit for this turret. The chassis was mine, but this was hers. The interior was actually be modified a little bit to accommodate for the turret, but all in all, I think that was, considering this started and ended with a team up, I thought that was pretty appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you can definitely see the care that you put into making sure that chassis design stayed true and was then integrated across the line,
I gotta keep
even
it
into the SU-100.
Oh yeah, I got to keep this as consistent as best I could. Because one, I'm lazy. Two, it was a lot more, because when I was designing this one originally, I wanted to make this chassis as adaptable as possible for future builds, much like the Sherman. And I think that about does it for the Soviet lineup.
Yeah, well, definitely cool to see this entire lineup return, and with some updated accuracies, and then just kind of representing some things that, I mean, the T-34-85 should not be out of your World War II lineup for more than
it's a T-34, yeah. Yeah, this one especially, because you would see like a lot of these going through like Balkans, CeeLo Heights,
all over the place.
Battle of Berlin. Yeah, this was everywhere after like 1943 onwards, or late 1940s. Because this was not at Kursk, this was after Kursk.
Right.
For Kursk, you would definitely see these guys. This was 1944, so that would not be at Kursk either. But yeah, that's about it for the Soviet lineup.
Yeah, a fantastic lineup and a much needed update. Nate, thank you very much for talking through this whole thing.
No problem.
That will do it for the Designer Studio episode for the Soviet armor lineup. Thank you very much for watching.